Welcome to Elite Broker, the podcast showcasing the leading players and stories of success from Australia's broking industry.
Hello and welcome back. I'm your host for today, Annie Kane. And after a month of new broker podcasts following the New Broker Academy Roadshow 2026, we're back to our usual programming of Elite Broker Podcast. And this week, we're continuing talking to the recipients of the Editor's Choice Awards from the Better Business Awards 2026. And this week, it's the turn of the Victoria Tasmania Editor's Choice Award recipient in the form of Bendigo-based broker Nathan Newland. Now, the Editor's Choice Awards, if you don't know what they are pretty special as I take into consideration the details provided in the award submissions for the Better Business Awards of every single finalist. I also look at client feedback and reviews, as well as industry feedback and my own knowledge of the industry. And the award for the VicTas broker this year went to a broker who is achieving strong growth, driven by stellar client reviews that really paint a picture of relentless advocate for his clients. They really praise his ability to make miracles happen, often securing finance in the last, 48-hour windows to save deals, and also beyond his sort of property advisor model and local expertise. The feedback from his clients highlights a gift for simplifying complex jargon and making first home buyers feel empowered. So with a reputation for being available when clients need the most and making a difference to borrowers' lives in both Bendigo and beyond, this broker really seems to define what it means to go the extra mile for your clients. So I'm thrilled to have him in the studio joining me today for this episode of Elite Broker. Nathan, thank you for joining me. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good, Annie. Thanks for having me. Very cool to be here.
Very cool for you to come all the way from Bendigo to Sydney to do this podcast for us, and we really appreciate that. Now, we obviously have met a couple of times, and when I got to present you with the award, it's just such a fun an honour, really, a privilege to be able to bestow an award on a broker. And I always love seeing people's reactions because by that point, you don't know it's coming. People are always like, who is this going to be me? And I remember seeing some of the people on your table afterwards, and they were like, when we heard what you were saying, we knew it was Nathan. How did it feel to win?
It's pretty surreal. I think after you said my name, I kind of sat there for a little bit too long. There was a few people on my table saying, You got to go up there. Yeah, go up there. No, it was really cool. It's something I won't ever forget. It was, I was sort of sitting there listening to you speak about what ended up being me. I was sitting there thinking, wow, whoever you're talking about, must be right into what they do and, work really hard for their clients. And sort of halfway through you speaking, I went, that kind of sounds a little bit like me. I do some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't really until you sort of said Bendigo that I went, I'm getting this.
Yeah.
I lent to my partner Taylor was there and she was digging into the dessert that had just been served. So she was all eyes on the dessert and I tapped her on the leg and I said, Annie's talking about me, I'm getting this. She had a bit of a giggle and then, a couple of minutes later I was up there. So it was cool.
It was really fun. And I always feel slightly bad because you don't know, obviously, that it's coming. So people, if they're in a finalist for another category, they don't win. They're a bit like, well, now I'm drinking.
Yep, that happened to me.
Yeah. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh dear, I've had a bit too much drink. You were fine. You were totally fine. But I think as well, like looking at, as I said, like really stellar reviews from the clients. And I think this really goes to the heart of what broking is really making people feel comfortable and informed and confident in their choices when they're making a home loan decision or another type of credit advice sort of decision. We sort of talked about this before, I think, as well. And I love seeing the different variation of brokers across the country, whether it's regional or metro and new brokers or elite brokers, people who've been around for, millions of years or people who are brand new. And you're kind of in the middle. You're, I wouldn't say regional, because Bendigo's apparently our fourth largest inland city.
Yep.
I learned that today.
Cool fact.
Yep. But also, it's pretty big, but pretty far away. And also, you've been broking for about 5 years. Yep. So you're not like, again, super new. You're not super, super established. You're kind of what we would categorize as a rising star. Yeah. So walk us back to the beginning. So about 5 years ago, what were you doing? What was the decision to become a broker?
Yeah, well, it was, interesting one. Not never wanted to, but it was never a thought to go work in finance. I just kind of fell into it and then fell into broking as well. So,
ouch.
Kind of got there eventually, but I'm glad that I did. First job was at one of the majors, CBA. It was about 40 k's out of Bendigo. It was in Castlemaine, it was just a matter of out of school. All my friends are going to, not all of them, some are going to uni, some are getting jobs, and everyone's going off and doing stuff. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Still living at home. Just kind of went, I need to do something. I'll look for a job. And luckily enough, snagged one at the CBA, and it was really cool. Made some really good friends there. The lender that was there at the time, absolute legend, ended up working with one of my best mates. So it was really good fun. But yeah, had a shelf life. Always wanted to try to come back to Bendigo because obviously, it's a little bit out of home. So I think I was there for about 3 years, and then ended up at a branch in Bendigo. Worked there for a bit over 12 months, I think, and just kind of got to a point there whereabouts work wasn't fun for me anymore. It was you wake up and you go, I've got to go to work, and flat mood. You get home after work and, maybe a bit short with people and that kind of stuff. And that's not me at all. Like, happy 100% of the time. So I felt myself sort of, turning into something that I didn't like being, and I knew something that needed to change. So, that sounded kind of negative, but then also the bank taught me a whole bunch of skills that I've got now that, let me be good at broking. So,
were you doing mortgages at the bank?
No lending experience at all. It was so in Castlemaine, started off as teller, flicking out money, talking to people. It was fun. Yeah. And then ended up just doing like account opening, personal loans, things like that. Customer service really. The role that I had at the branch wasn't the Bendigo branch, it was a one-off, but was just kind of like a 2RC role, helping run a branch. The job itself wasn't bad. I just didn't love it. And I just sort of looked at it and I went, this can't be what the rest of my life ends up being. I feel like with, a lot of roles like that, people might end up working there for their whole life, and that's great. And they have a really good career and they love it, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. There was one Friday I went home, talked to someone in my family. I just said, look, I need some advice. I'm pretty unhappy here. I don't know what to do. It was full-time work. But the advice that I got was you're not supposed to enjoy work. You go to work, you work your 40 hours a week, you save as much as you can. Maybe you get a holiday here or there, buy a house, pay your mortgage off until you retire, and that's what work is. And that was the worst advice that I could have ever got. That weekend I wrote up a resignation letter and I quit. So I still had 4 weeks at the bank. They let me serve that out, which was cool. But after that 4 weeks, I was going to be unemployed. Liked finance though. I really liked the money side of things. I love talking to people. 100% that's the best part of the job now. But started applying for jobs. There was one that popped up at a Mortgage Choice franchise. It was only like 20 hours a week, but I needed work and I didn't want to, I wanted to stay in finance somehow. So it was just like a bit of a processor role, and luckily enough snagged it. And 5 years later, here we are. And
so it was kind of just like you were really like, I need a job.
Yep, pretty much. Need a job. Liked talking to people, like money stuff. What does that look like? Started applying for jobs and snagged one.
And I'm also curious because obviously you used to work at a major bank, and often I think when people come from banking into broking, they're like, oh, actually, this is quite different to what I thought it was going to be like. Did you have any preconceptions of broking when you were at CBA?
Yeah, I did actually. And this isn't from, CBA itself, maybe just bank people speaking, but there was like this vendetta against brokers. Like in the bank, they're like, brokers are the worst. And so I kind of started thinking that too. I was like, oh, they must be. I don't know. I've never spoken to one. They
must be.
Yeah, they must be. No, they're not.
Yeah.
We've got 35, 40 different options. Your bank has one. So, how is that bad? If you can get someone in whereabouts the bank says no and you can say yes and help them, it's the best thing ever. So, I did have a preconceived idea. I kind of felt like I was going over to the dark side a little bit. But then when you get there and you go, wow, this is so much better than I thought it was ever going to be. It's pretty special. So.
Did you get any bankers being like, what are you doing?
Well, only when they were trying to, get me to hang around.
Yeah.
But someone within the bank did tell me that I would be back. Safe to say I will not be. So
there we go. So you were processing to begin with, and I think this is always really interesting seeing brokers who start that way. I think a lot of brokers who do start that way often it is the only way that brokers should be starting, because you obviously learn so much on the ground without having the kind of the pressure of having to find your own business and start your own business. What did you learn on the tools that was kind of like, the thing that really got you thinking, I actually want to do this as a broker rather than as a processor?
Yeah, so I like the talking to people bit.
Yeah.
That's the fun part. So plugging in numbers all well and good, and it's, easy enough, and it's not rocket science, but I like talking to people. So and obviously the planning side of things, all that kind of stuff. It's the fun stuff. So it did just get to a point and I went, well, that was the idea. Once I got this role, got into that business, it was always going to be where I went, and it's what I wanted to do anyway. So I like to yap. It's the fun part.
So how long was it before you actually became a broker?
Probably proper broker and actually like sourcing my own deals and structuring them up and stuff, probably 12 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon 12 months.
And at that point, you kind of right, I'm going to become a broker. And now you're a franchise owner as well.
Yep.
So started up Mortgage Choice franchise in Bendigo.
Yep.
What was the decision to actually kind of do that? Because that's quite a big move. It's a big decision to make.
Yeah, it was. I was bringing in almost all my own deals. A lot of brokers obviously getting, comms or bonuses, all that kind of stuff. Was just getting a wage. That's what it was. And there was also no, room to move with regards to getting involved in that business. So it was either go somewhere else and start working for somebody else, or I'm already doing what I'm doing. I'll just go do it by myself.
So I think looking at, like how you've been kind of building your business now. So you kind of started out your own sort of on your own and decided to hit the ground running. Did you start out with a team? Did you bring in your own loan processor? Are you on your own? Like, what does the structure look like?
It was just me. Yeah, just me for, I think 7 or 8 months. And I was getting hammered. I was working long days, weekends. It was all right because I like it. And a lot of the people that I was doing deals for were friends or family of friends or friends of friends. And I liked doing it, but it got to a point where I needed help. And good learning curve, I think a lot of brokers say this too, is hire before you need it. I didn't do that. The reason why I didn't is just because obviously the business in its infancy, I wanted to make sure that I've got plenty of work and there's plenty of cash behind me and all that kind of stuff before I bring somebody on. But yeah, it was just me to start with. I've now got a assistant. His name's Senna. Actually, best mates with Senna. We play football together. He's 20, I'm 30, so good. Hopefully, in the coming years, he ends up pulling deals in when all his mates are buying houses. But yeah, it's the two of us at the moment. He acts as a processor for me, and it's working really well.
Yeah, I think I met him, didn't I?
Yeah, you met Senna. Yeah, really good guy.
So you started up your own franchise. Whereabouts is it?
In Bendigo. So I work from home.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was going to say next, is it like
remote.
an actual, so it's not a storefront. It's, working from home. Yep. And does Senna work there?
Yep. So like I said, not weird because best mates. 3 will be a crowd though. So once I hire somebody else, office space perhaps, or work from home. But yeah, Senna comes to my place each morning and we've got, so my second bedroom's just decked out like an office. So door opens, walk in, it's work. And then once we've knocked off, door closes, and you don't need to go back in there and you can switch off. So yeah, very much like to keep the work and life separate to an extent, but yeah.
So you just close the door and you're like, that is the office and we're not going back in there until work starts again tomorrow.
Yep. Also, when he gets in there and we close the door, it's kind of lock-in time, so it's good. And then he knows that when he walks out of there, he doesn't need to think about work. Yeah.
Lovely.
And me too, because it's at my house.
And then how did you go about like actually finding, your first clients?
Yeah, well, because I'd already been doing it for, 4 years or however long it had been, people knew that I was a broker already. So I still had people, particularly like you were saying before, Bendigo's big place, small place. I know a lot of people there. So pretty much as soon as I started posting about myself and that I started a business, it for lack of a better word, popped off pretty early. I was really busy really quick. So yeah.
And first home buyers, like what kind of loans were you writing?
Yeah, first home buyers, a lot of refis. I was right in that sweet spot whereabouts rates kind of went down for a little bit, then they went back up and people were sort of going, what do we do?
Yeah.
I couldn't have timed it better, to be honest. Didn't do it on purpose, but it was really good.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of brokers now, kind of thinking FY27 is looking a little bit hairier than, we had hoped it was going to look. But obviously kind of looking at the different types of loans available, because I think so many people are thinking, well, mortgage demand's going down, SMSFs, what the flip's going on there. So I think lots of things kind of being like, well, what happens? And obviously with the negative gearing and investor tax changes too, like there's a lot to consider. So when you were kind of looking at the loans you're writing now, is it mostly still first home buyers? Has that kind of changed?
Oh, it's a good spread. I do a whole lot of, particularly because of the age demographic that I'm in, a lot of first home buyers, a lot of upgraders and stuff. So maybe people are selling their first home because they've, had kids and they want to get a bigger space and that kind of stuff. There was a fair bit of investing going on
before the rate hikes.
Yeah, before rate hikes, before the budget come out, all that kind of gear. And but yeah, mostly first home buyers, refinances.
Do you do a lot of the home guarantee scheme loans?
Heaps.
Yeah,
heaps. Bendigo's awesome for it because obviously with your stamp duty exemptions up to 600 grand, 600 grand in Bendigo gets you plenty. The 5% deposit scheme, jump on that, gets you plenty. So it's, I feel for some of the first home buyers in like metro areas that, are finding it really hard to get in.
Yeah.
It's still hard to get in Bendigo because there's so much competition. Everyone's going for the same houses, but they're not super expensive, and that scheme is perfect for it.
Yeah, that's probably one of the very few times I've heard someone say the price caps are actually okay and
They're
it works
Bendigo.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It works well. Most
Yeah.
people are like, it doesn't work.
Wish it was more.
Yeah. I'm going to take a quick break here, Nathan. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about how you actually do what you do. So what kind of tools and tech you're using, how you kind of get the deals from first inquiry all the way through to settlement. And we'll get into that just after this. So Nathan, you were mentioning there that now it's yourself and Senna working at the franchise that you started up. When was it? A couple of years ago?
The franchise that I started?
Yeah.
Coming up 12 months in about 3 weeks.
Oh, well, happy anniversary.
Real new, thanks.
But happy birthday. So a year in to having your own sort of business in your own right and looking at, how you actually do your own thing. What does your process look like?
Yeah, so obviously having worked for a mortgage choice franchise beforehand, know the systems really well. Systems are so good, it's not funny, but you get out of it what you put in. But I spent that time ironing out a process and making sure that it was going to be really clear when I did bring people in, but also for me to start with, because if I was double handling files or, wasting time doing stuff that isn't getting a deal through, it could be pretty detrimental. So, just made sure that I had a really smooth process, because smooth is fast, particularly when you're doing a loan for someone you touched on before. Like sometimes people come to you and they go, I need finance due. Like I've got finance due in 2 days. Can you help me? Yep. Whereabouts if you got a poor process? Probably not. But yeah, now that I've got Senna, it's a lot easier. And as far as I can just be having conversations with clients, he can be doing all the chasing up docs, plugging in data, all that kind of stuff that really was tying me down. That was what I was saying about working 10, 12-hour days, or saving docs and putting numbers in, that kind of thing. I want to be talking to people and a lot smoother now.
Yeah. And I think as well, like, what a time to be a broker because, there's so much technology now. Like, I think a lot of the brokers, when they sort of look back 10 years, kind of say, like, getting docs, renaming them, like, putting them in the right place. And now so much of the time we can use artificial intelligence or technology to do that sort of for us. Do you use any tools and tech in your business?
Yeah. So, like I said, Mortgage Choice gives us all these tools that you can use them if you want to, don't use them if you don't want to. But they're so good that you'd be crazy not to use them.
Like what?
Just like the CRM. Our broker platform's amazing. You can use other things like Quickly and all that kind of stuff to sort of supplement that. I think that's whereabouts AI will be really useful for brokers moving forward. I remember when it first started, dipping its head into the industry and everyone's scared of it, going, oh no, we're going to lose our jobs. No, you're not. Because you can't have a conversation like what we're having now with somebody with AI. I mean, you can with ChatGPT and just going to agree with you the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so using AI to tidy up emails even, make it look really clear cut and, again, simpler for the client. Whether it's saving docs, just doing the monotonous stuff. And I think for my business, it's the value add there is it's probably pushing out my next hire, because I can use AI to do stuff that otherwise, 5 years ago, you would have needed to hire somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Really handy.
And when it comes to actually then sort of getting the whole sort of process done the Nathan Newland way, like, if let's say you've got a Bendigo first home buyer, they've seen that they can access a 5% deposit scheme, they kind of like reach out to you and they kind of go, hey, I want to know more. Walk me through what happens next. Like, how do you get them, through the door? Is it a phone call? Is it booking a calendar? Is it, how do you actually kind of do the client stuff?
Yeah, so a lot of the time, because I know the client, I'll go catch up with them, whether that's a cafe, pub, their house, depends how close with them. My house doesn't really matter, but phone calls are fine, Zoom's fine, but yeah, I do like speaking to them. Obviously, I like to yap a little bit, but talking to the client's always good in any which way. So, like I said, I don't have a shop front, so whatever's going to suit the client, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. And you said there, like, a lot of time you might know them. Is that just because most of your clients are friends or people that have kind of like, been in your circle already?
Yeah, I think so. Growing up, like obviously I've lived in Bendigo my whole life. So I've been there for 30 years and, gone to school there and, played footy at a few different clubs, cricket, a whole bunch of different social circles and sort of community circles and stuff. That's helped so much being a broker now, because I know so many people. And have good relationships with so many people. Like I had a deal come through, which was just a cold call, answered that call. And I always like to ask, how'd you hear of me? Her sister referred her to me. And I went to school with her sister when we were, 17, 18, so 12, 13 years ago. I haven't spoken to her for 12 or 13 years, but...
She knew you were a broker.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, just knew you from school. So that happens heaps, small town stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but all the metro brokers are like, damn it. Like,
yeah, it's an interesting one too. Like a lot of regional brokers, shouldn't say a lot of, some regional brokers go, our loan size is so small, it's so hard. We can get so many, like we've got access to so many more deals and clients, I feel, just because of a lot of the time we grew up there. We know all these people there. Like if you plonked me in the middle of Melbourne and said, go find deals, it'd be really hard.
Just walk around and be like, do you want a loan?
Yeah. How are you supposed to do that? I don't know. In Bendigo, they kind of like know everybody. So
You mentioned there about, like how regional brokers often say, well, our average loan size is smaller. And this is why I often ask when I sort of say to people, what kind of volumes are you writing? I'm like, well, what number of loans are you writing? Because a lot of the time people go, I'm writing, 100 mil. It's like, okay, but
how many loans is that?
How many loans is that?
Yeah, it's 10 loans.
And also because then you can think about what their business size looks like. Because if they're processing, regional brokers are often processing high volume number, but obviously lower dollar size. So if you're trying to process like 200 loans in a year, that your business is going to be quite different in terms of composition and team size if you're writing 50. So how many do you reckon you write a year?
Yeah, I was actually looking at this because I thought you were going to ask me this. I think it's 135, which about 20 of them are asset finance deals. So yeah, sort of low to mid hundreds. Yeah. In the resi space.
Yep. And the asset finance stuff, is that like car loans or is that business asset finance?
Bit of everything really. Mortgage Choice have Mortgage Choice asset finance that we can deal with, and they take a lot of the brunt of doing the asset finance deal. So whether that's little top ups for renos and they need the money quick, or getting a car loan and going from there. Yeah, I'll deal with them a lot.
Yeah, cool. And so like I think the 100 mark is probably where most people would be like, I need some help.
Yeah.
Is when they start kind of going, this is too hard to do all on my own, plus all the other things I need to do as a business owner, in terms of like the kind of running the business and working on the business. When you actually look at the types of sort of trends that you're seeing at the moment, I mean, obviously there's been lots of conversation around what happened to the budget with the housing tax changes, and now with SMSF.
Yep.
Our LRBA bans for resi property. Is that going to impact much of your clients? Have you kind of been doing any of the SMSF type stuff?
No, I've done a couple I've done some SMSF, but it's not a target of mine.
Yeah.
Like I sort of said, I'm 30, Centre's 20. SMSF is pretty few and far between for our clients.
Yep. No one's built up enough super yet.
Yeah, that's right. I like it. It's a cool spec. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, not so much the SMSF stuff. Investment lending, a little bit, obviously, just because it's impacting borrowing capacity. We were doing a bit of the rent vesting type stuff, and now that's, not obsolete, but it's not as powerful as what it used to be. So yeah, impacted a little bit. We've got such a mix. I mean, for example, the last 2 weeks, I reckon all we've been doing is build loans, which we do sometimes, but we've been flat out with build loans all of a sudden. So for people to go and occupy. So
yeah. Is that just because people are interested in the negative gearing of new builds?
Nope. Not just new estate pop up in Bendigo, everyone's keen on it.
Okay.
And then, it comes in waves, but good for us that we've got such a mix so that when things do change, we don't get hammered.
Yeah. And do you do any kind of like social media marketing or any engagement with the community to get your kind of brand out there?
Yeah. So to start with, it was just a matter of saying, hey, I'm here on social media. Posted a photo maybe once a month, but should have done it back then more regularly, because you do get deals from it. Putting a lot more effort into that now, because I think the sugar hit of, hey, I've just started a franchise, look at me, has worn off. Still very busy, but it's not so feast and famine type of thing. But yeah, I like to be as involved as I can be, particularly with my clients being, a lot of them are friends. For example, one client of mine, we caught up and I was doing a refinance for him. He desperately needed a restructure, and just at the end of our conversation, we were just having a coffee at a cafe. Said, what are you doing for the rest of the day? And he goes, I've got to chase up sponsors he's got to do with the Victorian Athletic League. I said, oh yeah, what do you got? And he gave me a little handout and didn't even think to ask me. I said, mate, I'll help. I'll sponsor. If I want to help you. End up just using the comms that I got from his deal to sponsor his event. So
that's nice.
Doing things like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, actively involved in my footy club. So I try to be as involved as I can be. If you're gonna, it's not just a matter of obviously handing money out. These people have something to do with me in some way, shape or form. But if you're going to go and sponsor something, I always go along. For example, that athletics day, I went, handed out sashes to the winners and stuff like that. I wasn't ever expecting any deals from. I just wanted to help, but it was cool to be involved in.
Yeah. And do you go like rocking your Mortgage Choice like merch?
Like a hoodie or something like that. I'm not rolling in a suit. You can obviously tell I'm pretty casual anyway. So being the whole, look at me, I'm in a suit and I'm a finance guy. It's not my style at all. So I'm not fine. I couldn't think of anything worse. If I ever go down that path, you can personally pull me up and tell me to cut it out.
Okay. Yeah. I've got that permission now. Thank you. When it comes to actually then, I guess, like looking at kind of building a business, that's the next thing that I think a lot of people worry about once they've kind of got through the first few years and they're like, right, I know what I'm doing now. I'm growing the business. The next thing is like, how do I grow? Do I want to grow? How big do I want to grow? Like, did you kind of have a business plan set out when you went out on your own to be like, this is what I want to achieve? Or you kind of just being like, I will figure it out once I get there?
Yeah, I was honestly happy to, if I wrote, 20 mil a year, I was making more money than what I was. So that'd be great. And now it's going to be, I think we've penciled in about 45, nearly 50. So it was, it did escalate a lot faster than what I thought it would have. And a couple of months in was when I sort of looked at it and went, I can take this wherever I want to take this. Now that I've got Senna, things are running really smooth. But I reckon for the next probably 12 months and then onwards, it's just a matter of, how do we pull in more clients that aren't just friends and aren't just friends of friends of friends and all that kind of stuff.
You're running out of people in Bendigo.
Yeah, well, that's right. I have people ringing me they see your Google reviews, for example. Like I think there's 80 5-star Google reviews and they read that and they go, wow, I want to deal with you. So that kind of stuff's helping. But for the next 12 months, it's obviously settlement numbers are always going to be a priority. But I think just for me, like I've got one of my best mates working with me, my next hire, I want to be, a friend or somebody close to me as well that I can give an opportunity to as well. So for me, or for a lot of business owners, yes, maybe it is all about the money, not for me. Doing what I'm doing now versus what I was doing 12 months ago has already allowed me to, provide for myself and my partner and my friends and, do things that I never would have been able to do. So that means more to me than, the dollar at the end of the day. And, if I can give friends a job and an opportunity and that kind of thing, that's pretty special to me as well. But that was a pretty long walk for a short drink. You'd answer your question on, like team size and that kind of stuff. I don't think I ever want to get huge. It's not what I want to do because particularly in a regional area, I think clients value like that care over anything else. Like that they know that they can pick up the phone and maybe not for, don't expect that as staff working to me, but like I'll answer the phone at, I was calling a client. I took a call from a client last week at like 11 p.m. because he was stressed. Anyone listening to me, maybe don't do that all the time, but his was a niche situation.
Someone's going to test
so
that
I
now.
took it. But I think having a smaller, more intimate team that you can sort of, like if I have a broker, say it's Senna, say Senna's your broker, you know that he's your guy and you can ring him and he cares and, you can lean on him for literally everything rather than become a big beast that it becomes transactional. It's not what I want. And I don't think it's what mortgage broking needs in, like the industry needs in a regional sense anywhere. But I just know that obviously in a lot of maybe metro areas, it's a little bit more transactional. I don't think it's like that in a regional area. It's not what I want to become.
We're going to take a quick break here, Nathan. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about what you think that could be done to improve the industry. Like if you were going to be ruler of the industry for a day, what would you change? And what kind of opportunities you see on the horizon as well? Like what kind of things you're really excited about? Plus your top advice for new brokers. And we'll get into that just after this message. So we've mentioned a few things there, Nathan, around the kind of, things that you're seeing at the moment. But I wonder when you look at, opportunities for FY27, just because it can feel a little bit sort of worrisome sometimes to some people looking at the speed of change. Is there anything that you're super excited about this year? Like whether it's, in terms of actually building a business or in terms of the types of loans that you're seeing or anything the government's doing?
Yeah, probably building the business. When it's an interesting sort of concept to owning a business versus when you're working in one. Obviously everything falls back on me now. So growing the business is definitely the goal for the next 12 months, 2 years onwards. Keen to see what happens off the back of, the budget changes and now the changes with the SMSF. What's going to happen with rates? Because I feel like whatever happens with rates kind of determines what happens, obviously, particularly in regional areas. Can you borrow enough to now buy your first home and that kind of thing too? So obviously just riding that wave of whatever's going on externally. But we kind of just play it by ear and just how we can help our clients at the time.
The rate forecasts are so weird at the moment. Like a lot of the major banks are kind of split. I think Westpac is still pricing in another 2. And that will make servicing so hard for so many people. If we're already at 4.35%, that goes up 50 basis points to 4.85%. You're servicing at like 9%.
Yeah, it's rough. Especially I was saying before about, that sort of $600,000 mark being perfect in Bendigo. It's perfect to get a property that is going to be suitable for a first home buyer, but whether you can actually afford that is another thing. Yeah. Single borrowers, it's really rough for in Bendigo, obviously.
Everywhere,
wages.
I think.
That's true. It's really hard for an individual to buy something now. Like, you look at, a few years ago, you might be able to get like a little 3-bed, 1-bath for a certain amount of money. It's well and truly more than that now. So, I do feel for borrowers in as far as things aren't easy at the moment, but what's to come, we'll see. But
a lot of my mates are kind of talking about looking at buying together. So like they're kind of they're still, if they're still sort of renting and living with other housemates, they're like, oh, should we just like buy a property together and live together rather than, so we're at least on the ladder. Are you seeing much of that?
I've done it a couple of times. Very careful around mates buying together. I've definitely seen like siblings. I think it's great. If you're getting the foot in the door, it's better than not doing so. So, not heaps of that, but any which way. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can get people in there, but just finding the right one that works for anyone and going from there.
Do you write many LMI loans?
I try not to.
Yep.
And obviously there's options out there to avoid that. Scheme stuff, 90% lens, no LMI. Bendigo's got a heap of health professionals. Like there's a couple of really big hospitals there too. So I've got really good options for health professionals as well. So in any which way, if we can avoid it, no brainer, obviously we're going to avoid it. But every now and again, yes. Yeah. Usually it's maybe someone had owned a property in the past and they've, separated and now they're starting again or that kind of thing. So serves a purpose, that's for sure. But we, as soon as we can get you away from, high rate and all that kind of stuff, we will. But yeah, sometimes.
Do you think there's any products that are like missing in market? Like do you ever think like, God, I wish we had a product that did X, Y, Z?
Not so much. I reckon we got enough flexibility. I do a lot of splits, depending what the rates are at any given time. But, splitting can be good. Peace of mind, flexibility. I think there's plenty out there for what people need.
Is there any like big bugbears in the industry? Like if you could fix something that is really annoying, what would you fix?
Government changing stuff at the moment. I understand clawbacks exist for a reason, so you can't just keep bouncing everyone around, and you've got to have their best interest at heart and whatnot. But I've had a couple whereabouts a client had to sell her home because of DV. I got clawback from that. That's the smallest part of that issue. Don't really mind at all. It's more about the client there, but
it's sort of out of your hands.
Yeah, there's circumstantial stuff whereabouts then we're impacted, but. Hey, how you fix that? I don't know.
And when you look at the kind of things that you were talking about earlier, saying you're working really long hours and obviously that wasn't really sustainable for the long run. I think that is a really common pitfall for self-employed people across the board, whether or not they're in broking. But how do you actually kind of segregate life and work? Like you can't be taking phone calls at 11 p.m. every day.
All the time.
So what sort of like, how have you managed to put in guardrails or protect your own time so you're not burning out? Really?
Yeah, for sure. And sort of probably wind back to putting center on sooner rather than later. Forever, I'll wish that I did that sooner. I do not work those hours now, and I won't, because then that's obviously bleeding into time with my family and my friends and for myself even.
Yeah.
I literally do a 9 to 5 now. Obviously, you're always forever on your phone checking stuff, but it doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah.
It is so important to keep work and life can blend, but I think it's important to have a point where you go, this time's for me or this time's for my family, because otherwise you're going to burn out. Like I said, since I've had Senna helping me out, I do not feel burnt out at all. I feel fresh all the time, which means that I can do my job better and I can be happier and all that kind of stuff. So it's And
really good. Do you have any like hobbies or anything that you do if you have had a particularly tough day to kind of shake off that stress and get back into positive mindset?
Yeah, I'm pretty big on healthy body, healthy mind. The first thing I do when I wake up is go for a walk or go to the gym. Sometimes I do that in the middle of the day. Say, sorry, Santa, I got to go. I'm going to the gym for a bit. Or after work, play footy as well. So having a social outlet's really, really important, I think, because particularly when you're self-employed or, if you're working from home or that kind of thing, it's really quite isolating. So I think it's really important to have, some kind of social outlet. I have a whole bunch. I've got heaps of friends, heaps of stuff that I want to be doing. I don't want to just be working all the time, even though I do love it. So very busy all the time.
All the time. So if you look, like, let's say you're going to fast forward, you're just about to celebrate your 1-year anniversary. If you want to fast forward to your 10-year anniversary, what would you hope to be doing, achieving, and sort of, what do you hope Mortgage Choice Bendigo Nathan Newland looks like?
Yeah. I reckon bit of a smaller team, more intimate team. That can be self-sufficient. I don't want to be on the tools forever. I want to be writing loans forever. For my friends, yes, because it's always special to
nice.
me. Yeah, it is. It's a really feel-good thing when, you can, maybe put the sold sticker up with your mate or something like that. It's really, really cool. I never want to go away from that. But, working in the business rather than on the business isn't something that I want to do forever. So hopefully that can happen sooner rather than later. But, just see what happens with business in general. Build that team out, hopefully hopefully it continues to grow to a certain point. And like I said before, money's not everything to me. If I can give some, friends or other people opportunity to, step into this industry. For example, when I brought Senna to that awards night where you met him, he was so wide-eyed that night, just going, this is the best thing ever. I can't believe I'm here. Is this what this industry is? Yeah, it is. You just get to make friends with all these other people that are doing the same thing. It's so awesome. So, if I can bring more people into that and they can help my business grow, then be pretty cool.
Yeah. And we love that. Bring more people into broking, that's what I say.
Yep.
If you had any advice, though, for anyone who is just starting their journey, or maybe people who are listening to this who are thinking about becoming a broker, what advice would you give to succeed in broking?
That healthy body, healthy mind thing, you will burn yourself out if you're not careful. Particularly if you're building a business, like if you're self-employed, I think having a really clear-cut process and you don't defer, don't go away from that, has to be really, really smooth as fast. That's probably my number one tip for anyone that's going to be, broker in general, because a lot of the time you're managing your own clients and all that kind of thing. Have a really clear process. But something that I wish I had have probably thought about more when I first started was, everyone's going to make mistakes, and it is just how it is. I read something recently, and it was, I'm probably going to get this wrong. If there's any astrophysicists listening to this, please don't pull me up on this. But it was like, if you made a mistake yesterday, so 24 hours ago, you might say, yep, you made that mistake yesterday, but since then the Earth has moved 19 million kilometres. That mistake that you made is 19 million kilometres behind you. Don't worry about it. It's gone. In a nutshell, don't worry about it. It's going to be all right.
All right. I like that. Nathan Newland, thank you so much for your time today and joining me on Elite Broker. It's been lovely chatting.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks for having me.
If you've got any questions for me or for Nathan, do feel free to reach out. You can reach me at editor@theadvisor.com.au. Of course, Nathan Newland and Mortgage Choice over in Bendigo. And if you've got any other questions or thoughts on what we should be asking on the Elite Broker podcast, maybe things that you want to hear from some of Australia's leading brokers, and do feel free to let us know. Leave us a comment or share this with us, and we'd love to get your burning questions answered. We'll be back next week for another episode on the Advisor Podcast Network.